Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I now call our December 4th organizational meeting to order. Welcome to our Fuquay-Varina Town Board of Commissioners meeting this evening. I have asked Pastor Tim Eppeling, who is the area pastor of Hope Community Church, to lead our invocation, followed by the Fuquay-Varina Police Department Honor Guard to present the colors and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
At this time of year, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to offer my services to families in need. I'm sure in this large crowd, there's families in need. The chief, the mayor, the commissioners have my contact information. If you know of a family in need, please let me know. We'd be happy to love them well during this time. Let's pray. We're coming out of Thanksgiving. Going into Christmas celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. We would certainly be amiss if we were not thankful. Thankful for our community. Thankful for your involvement in our lives. Thankful that we live in a country where we can have elections. Thankful for the men and women that have been elected. Thankful for our staff that helps us manage, run, organize our town. I pray for wisdom. I pray for direction for them. I pray that you would give them guidance, that you would give them protection, and that everything we do here would be for the benefit of our community. Again, Lord, we are thankful. We are grateful to live in such a blessed place. May we exhibit peace, unity, harmony, not only at this Christmas season, which is a special time, but throughout the entire year. I pray all this in the powerful name of our Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Two comments I want to make first. First of all, I'm so proud of our Fuquay-Varina Police Department Honor Guard. They work very hard in representing Fuquay-Varina, and so this is not the only time that they get to present the colors, but it is one of the most exciting times that knowing a local organization from Fuquay-Varina and these individuals are right here in our Fuquay-Varina Police Department. I'm very, very proud. So Thank y'all for being here tonight. Thank you, Chief, for doing that. Pastor Tim Epling that gave our invocation earlier tonight has been a friend of Fuquay-Varina for a long time. And he told, I said, in your church, Tim, what are you called? Preacher, minister, pastor? What do you like to go by? He said, just call me a friend of Fuquay-Varina. And so Tim's a friend of Fuquay-Varina too. Tim, thank you for that tonight. Next, other business, item 3A, Deputy Town Clerk, temporary appointment, Brandon Massengill. Purpose of this agenda item is to consider temporarily appointing Brandon Massengill as Deputy Town Clerk for a period of 30 days for the purpose of administering the oath of office to me, his brother, Blake Massengill. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Town Manager Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, board members. Good to be with you this evening. Mayor Massengill was recently re-elected as mayor of the town of Fuquay-Varina. He has expressed that he would like for his brother, Brandon Massengill, to be able to administer him the oath of office. To accommodate this request, Brandon Massengill will need to be temporarily appointed by the Town Board of Commissioners as Deputy Town Clerk prior to administering the oath of office to the mayor. The recommended motion by the board prior to the oath of office being administered is to temporarily, by motion, appoint Brandon Massengill as Deputy Town Clerk for a period of 30 days for the purpose of administering the oath of office to his brother, Blake Massengill. At this time, it would be appropriate to entertain a motion, Mayor.
I can assure you we're not going to give him the keys to the treasury, though.
Okay.
Entertain a motion for my brother to swear me in tonight, please.
So moved.
We have motion.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Brandon, please step to the podium so that Deputy Town Clerk Wilder can administer the oath of office. Thank you.
Repeat after me. I, Brandon Massengill, do solemnly swear
I, Brandon Massengill, do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as Deputy Town Clerk of the town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, so help me God.
as Deputy Town Clerk of the town of Fuquay-Varina, so help me God.
Teresa is the main clerk, but Teresa, keep your eye on that deputy of yours right there. That's my brother. I do love him. Next item on our agenda, item 3B, Deputy Town Clerk, temporary appointment of Molly Stevenson. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider temporarily appointing Molly Stevenson as Deputy Town Clerk for a period of 30 days for the purpose of administering the oath of office to Marilyn Gardner. This is the same scenario. Molly, we're very glad to have you here tonight and appreciative of you to be here for Marilyn.
Yes.
Any further questions from the board? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Welcome, Molly. Molly, if you will please step to the podium so that Deputy Town Clerk will administer the oath of office.
Okay. Repeat after me. I, Molly Stevenson,
I, Molly Stevenson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
discharge the duties of my office
discharge the duties of my office
as Deputy Town Clerk
as Deputy Town Clerk
of the Town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, so help me God.
as the Town of North Carolina, Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, so help me God.
Okay, you'll come down over here and sign this? I'll take the Bible.
Okay, you got it?
Yep.
Next item on our agenda, Deputy Town Clerk, temporary appointment, Chad Wunsch. Purpose of this agenda item is to consider temporarily appointing Chad Wunsch as Deputy Town Clerk for a period of 30 days for administering the oath of office to his brother Jason Wunsch. This is the same as previously. Any further questions by the board? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Chad Wunsch, please step to the podium so that Deputy Town Clerk Wilder can administer the oath of office to you.
I, Chad Wunsch,
I, Chad Wunsch,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of my office as Deputy Town Clerk
as of my office as Deputy Town Clerk
of the Town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, so help me God.
of the Town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, so help me God.
Next item on our agenda, item 4A. I will temporarily relieve myself of duties for Mayor Pro Tem Smith to preside over the meeting. At this time, I turn over the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor-elect Massengill, would you please join me at the podium with your wife and children? Blake, congratulations. You've been reelected by the citizens of Fuquay-Varina to serve another 2-year term as the mayor of the town of Fuquay-Varina. At this time, Brandon Massengill, would you please step forward and administer the oath of office to the town of Fuquay-Varina to your brother, Blake Massengill?
I, J. Blake Massengill,
I, Blake Massengill,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office as mayor of the town of Fuquay-Varina.
the duties of my office as the mayor of the town of Fuquay-Varina.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You want to go ahead and sign it first? Congratulations, Mayor. You may now assume your role as presiding officer of the meeting. I was going to sit down in your chair.
You want to sit here?
You didn't let me keep it long enough.
Thank you, Deputy Town Clerk Brandon, for helping out with that very much right there. And Mayor Pro Tem Larry Smith, you did an excellent job. Appreciate you doing that for me. Next item on our agenda is the administration of the oath of office for Marilyn Gardner, Fuquay-Varina Commissioner. Marilyn Gardner, please join me at the podium with your family. Marilyn, my friend Marilyn, you have been reelected by the citizens of Fuquay-Varina to serve as commissioner for a 4-year term. Congratulations. At this time, Molly Stevenson, if you'll please step forward and administer the oath of office of commissioner to the town of Fuquay-Varina for Marilyn Gardner.
I, Marilyn B. Gardner, do solemnly swear
I, Marilyn B. Gardner, do solemnly swear
I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States
I will support,
maintain,
I will support and maintain the laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as Commissioner
as Commissioner
of the town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina.
of the town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Commissioner Gardner. Please take your seat back at the dais. Molly Stevenson, that just sworn her in, that was a deputy town clerk, was also formerly a commissioner in Fuquay-Varina, has been involved with our community for a long, long time here. So thank you for being here tonight, Molly. Next item on our agenda, item 6B, administration of the oath of office for William Harris, Fuquay-Varina Commissioner. William Harris, please join me at the podium with your family. Bill, you have been reelected by the citizens of Fuquay-Varina to serve as commissioner for a 4-year term. At this time, retired Justice of the Supreme Court of North Carolina, Michael Morgan, will administer the oath of office of commissioner to the town of Fuquay-Varina to William Harris.
Mr. Mayor, thank you, and to you, sir, and to the esteemed members of the town board and to the citizens of this great town. Commissioner, thank you for having me back to once again in this wonderful town administer your oath as a commissioner, accompanied by your wonderful family, including certainly your lovely wife, Mita. With your left hand on the Bible and raise your right, please give the appropriate sign of affirmation after me. I, William H. Harris, do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as Commissioner of the town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, so help me God. And is this your solemn oath or affirmation?
I do, my solemn oath.
Commissioner, congratulations.
Thank you, Justice, appreciate it.
I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you, man.
Congratulations, Commissioner Harris. You may retake your seat at the dais. Next item on our agenda, item 6C, administration of the oath of office, Charlie Adcock, Fuquay-Varina Commissioner. Charlie Adcock, please join me at the podium with your family. Charlie, you have been elected by the citizens of Fuquay-Varina to serve as commissioner for a 4-year term. Congratulations. Town Attorney James Adcock, please step who is forward and administer the oath of office to Charlie Adcock for commissioner. James.
Right. Repeat after me. Raise your right hand. I, Charlie Adcock,
I, Charlie Adcock,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of my office as Commissioner
of my office as Commissioner
of the town of Fuquay-Varina,
of
North
the
Carolina.
town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
Commissioner Adcock, congratulations. Please take your seat at the dais. Next item on our agenda, item 6D, administration of the oath of office, Jason Wunsch, Fuquay-Varina Commissioner. Jason, please join me at the podium with your family. Jason, you have been elected by the citizens of Fuquay-Varina to serve as Commissioner for an unexpired 2-year term. At this time, Chad, your brother, will administer the oath of office for Commissioner of the town of Fuquay-Varina. Chad.
It's my pleasure to do this again. Repeat after me. I, Jason Wunsch,
I, Jason Wunsch,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as Commissioner of the town of Fuquay-Varina,
As-
North Carolina.
as Commissioner of the town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Commissioner Wunsch, congratulations. Please take your seat at the dais. Former Mayor Pro Tem Larry Smith, if you would mind, please step forward for a presentation. Larry Smith and I have known each other for quite some time. Before he, I guess before we even really knew each other, we knew each other from the standpoint of Larry grew up in Raleigh, the same street that my father grew up on. And so I got to know Larry and his family before he was on our town board and before he moved to Fuquay-Varina. And Larry, I want to, on behalf of myself and the town board, we have a deep gratitude for your deep appreciation for your outstanding service. Larry has dedicated a significant portion of his life to public service, and his impact has been profound. Larry was on our town board for 5 years, appointed to fill a vacant seat in January of 2019, and elected to a 4-year term December 2019. And Mayor Pro Tem for the past 2 years, my first Mayor Pro Tem. For over 40 years, he has served with unwavering dedication in state and local law enforcement, 10 of those years as chief of the Fuquay-Varina Police Department. Larry's leadership as Mayor Pro Tem has been marked by wisdom, foresight, and a genuine passion for making our town a better place for all. Larry, I thank you for providing valuable support and guidance as my Mayor Pro Tem. I have some things I'd like to present you. Larry, first I'd like to present to you my mayor's coin. This mayor's coin shows Fuquay on one side with the railroad tracks in between it and the Varina train station on the north side of the coin right here. And you helped bring unity in Fuquay-Varina. And for this mayor's coin, you are a dash more in Fuquay-Varina, and I'm honored to present this to you. Larry has already received a key to the city, or he would receive a key to the city also. This here is a proclamation in honor of Larry Smith, and I'm going to read this to everybody here, Larry. Whereas Larry Smith has served as commissioner for the town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, having been appointed on February 4th, 2019, and elected in November 2019, and then appointed by the mayor to serve as the town of Fuquay-Varina's Mayor Pro Tem on December 21st, 2021. And whereas Mayor Pro Tem Smith's years of service have been marked by exemplary dedication to the best interests of the citizens of the town of Fuquay-Varina. And whereas Mayor Pro Tem Smith has worked diligently to address the most pressing challenges and opportunities of the town of Fuquay-Varina, including planning for the future growth of the community and supporting the 2040 Comprehensive Land Use Plan, strategically preparing for water and wastewater capital projects, supporting roadway infrastructure enhancements, supporting transformational economic development initiatives, and championing fair and proactive compensation and benefits for all town employees. And whereas Mayor Pro Tem Smith has demonstrated commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making a lifelong commitment to civic and public service. And whereas the town board and staff wish to recognize Mayor Pro Tem Smith for his dedicated efforts toward developing a sense of community spirit through his service. Now therefore, I, Blake Massengill, Mayor of the town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, on behalf of the town board and the citizens of the town of Fuquay-Varina, proclaim sincere appreciation and congratulations to Mayor Pro Tem Larry Smith for his years of public service and exceptional contributions to the betterment of the town of Fuquay-Varina. Anyone here that knows Larry knows his leadership style is rooted in faith. And Larry leads from his heart. He is a man of God. You can't just go with an ordinary plaque for Larry Smith. So Larry, we have something here we'd like to present to you, which will mean so much more. This is a Bible engraved, Larry, with your name on it, Larry Smith. So he shepherded them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them with his skillful hands. Psalms 78:72. We chose this Bible verse specifically for Larry because it truly represents him. Larry embodies remarkable integrity coupled with a heart of pure gold. His leadership is characterized by genuine compassion and exceptional skills honored over his numerous years of dedicated to public service. Guided by skillful hands and a heart of gold, Larry consistently makes decisions that reflect his unwavering commitment to the well-being of our community. Larry, when you use this Bible, we hope you reflect on the friendships made at Town Hall. Let the pages remind you of the countless accomplishments and positive changes you've contributed to Fuquay-Varina during your 5 years on the town board. Your achievements have shaped our community for the better. Larry, we extend our deepest thanks for your dedicated public service and wish you and Wendy for the best, and trust y'all will not be strangers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will make this brief. He kind of got away with me there, so I had to kind of recompose myself. About 9 months ago, I told the mayor I was not going to run for re-election. I've kind of dreaded tonight because I knew I'd leave with mixed emotions because it's been a true honor to serve this community. A few weeks ago, I had a chance to tell our town employees, our town staff, our great management team, and of course my fellow commissioners, who I count as very close, dear friends, goodbye, kind of, and it says some thank yous. But I had 2 more thank yous I wanted to make before I left, and then I will get out of your way because you got work to do tonight. Number one, I want to say thank you to my wife, Wendy. She has been my supporter during close to 50 years of public service. My main person to tell me when I'm doing right, also tells me when I'm doing wrong, and also has been a great supporter and a great sounding board and my biggest cheerleader. Thank you so much. The second group I want to thank is the citizens of Fuquay-Varina. When we came here in 2005 to be the chief of police, this community accepted us with love and appreciation, made us a part of the community. We decided to make this our home even after I retired from being the police chief. And then the citizens honored me by electing me to be on the town board, and I will never, never be able to say thank you enough for that. That was quite an honor. I was very humbled by it, and I am going to miss serving this community in a full-time capacity. However, as Citizen Smith, I will continue to serve whenever I can. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll leave tonight with a very grateful and thankful heart to this great town that has embraced us, and we've embraced it, and this is now our hometown. Thank you, Fuquay-Varina. I love everybody in this town. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Larry. Commissioner Gardner, at this time, please feel free to provide any remarks you would like to make to town board, the audience, your family, friends, supporters, and the community. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Massengill, and thank you again, Larry Smith, for your service to this board and to our town. I'm grateful to so many people for the opportunity to serve again in this seat. First of all, to God for so many blessings, this among them, to my family, to all of those citizens who have worked so hard in these last weeks, and for the citizens who support this board and what we do. We come here from different places, often different parties, with different ideas, and somehow we seem to find consensus where we can agree on what we think is best for Fuquay-Varina, and our hearts are as one. I thank you again for that vote of confidence and for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I will do my best to serve you well.
Commissioner Bill Harris, at this time, please feel free to provide any remarks that you would like for the public tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, and to retired Justice Mike Morgan, my family, my wife and my daughters and my grandson are here. to the Fuquay community, I'm just so grateful and thankful. It is such an honor to be re-elected again, and more so, it's even a greater honor to be honored with being selected by individuals in my hometown. I mean, you know me. That's the interesting thing about it. When you're home, people know you. They know where you came from. They've seen the struggles as well as the challenges and the victories in your life. So it's indeed a great honor. You know, elections often bring about change, and sometimes it highlights community values. It's good that we do have elections because elections often end up in shaping political policy, which is the foundation of our democratic system. So being elected, I do not take it lightly. I think it's so important that we, as a community, we reflect on our ability to cast that one vote for whomever. I think that's important. It is such a great honor to be on this board, to be working with such a diverse group of leaders. One of the things that I think about as far as this community as well as this country is the leadership aspect. I think that that's so important. I commit to you to do my best to promote fairness, to honor the standards, the highest standards in our community. I think that's important for us to continue to be accountable, to continue to be transparent, and to continue to listen to the voices of the citizens, those of us who are elected. So again, I'm forever grateful. I do not take this election lightly, and I pray that I can do something to continue to make a difference in the Fuquay community. To outgoing Commissioner Smith, I just have a little advice to give you. First, whatever you do, and I know you will, enjoy yourself. Second, don't write us off and never underestimate the impact that you've had on the town of Fuquay-Varina. And third, I wish you and Wendy and your family Godspeed. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Charlie Adcock, congratulations. At this time, please feel free to make any remarks you'd like to. Congratulations.
Thank you. First thing, when I was considering running, I talked to my wife, Shannon, who was here, and I wanted to make sure that I had my wife on board with this. And she didn't hesitate and was excited that I was considering to run. The next, we talked to our children and made sure they were all on board with it as well. I wasn't quite sure how that was going to go, but they were all really excited for me as well. So that's the most important thing to me is my family. Shannon and my two boys, James and Graham, are here tonight, and my daughter Vivian is in college. But you know, I think that's why we do so much is for family. And so I'm thankful for them. Another thing with how I came to decide to run was I was on this board before, and I worked for many years with Larry Smith when he was the police chief. And I don't know that there's anybody I had more respect for on the staff than Larry Smith. And Larry Smith, I've enjoyed watching him over the past almost 5 years, and I think he's done just a great job representing the town of Fuquay-Varina. I was sad when I found out Larry was not going to run again, and but that was what convinced me to try my hand at trying to see if I could get a spot on the board. So I think it worked out. and I'm very happy for that. The other thing I'll just say, one thing that I like and I love about this town is the history. And we've got a lot of folks on this board that are natives, and in Wake County, that's disappearing really quick. But I think it makes Fuquay-Varina unique. We're a unique town, and a lot of people still say we have a small town feel. And one thing that I think is kind of cool, when we were trying to decide who would swear us in tonight, I had the town attorney do my swearing in. And if you've noticed, his last name is Adcock. The town attorney is my second cousin once removed.
Okay.
So, to clear that up for you, my grandfather and his great-grandfather were brothers. And my great-great-great-grandfather and his great-great-great-grandfather was John William Adcock. And he came to southern Wake County as a tobacco farmer. If you talk to a tobacco farmer, they know the term, they know what the Granville wilt is. It's a disease that infected tobacco. And in the late 1800s, a lot of people moved from Granville County to find better land. And that's what brought John William Adcock to this area about 125 years ago. And it's pretty cool to me that tobacco is pretty much come and gone, but it's still making an impact on this town with the ripple effects, and why a lot of the folks that are here that have been here a long time can tie themselves to that industry one way or the other. So I think that's one thing that really makes this a cool town. There's a lot of cool history. There's still a lot of natives, a lot of them up here on the board, and I think being part of what's happening in this town with the change, it's fun, and I enjoy it. And I'm just very thankful for the citizens to put their trust in me, and I'm excited about working with this board to make this town even better.
Congratulations, Charlie. Commissioner Jason Wunsch, congratulations. Please feel free to provide any comments you like.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I'd first start off by saying that to say that I'm excited to be here would be an understatement. I'm extremely excited to be here, and I'm excited to be back. 2 years ago, I came here for what I thought might be the very last time to say goodbye to my town board, who I loved serving with all my heart for 8 years, and to the citizens of Fuquay-Varina. And I thought that was it for me, and that I would, as was stated by our Mayor Pro Tem, that I would now become a citizen. And I went on to serve on our Parks and Recreation Advisory Board with Jonathan and Junior Willis, who's here tonight. And I had a really good time, and I was content. I was very happy with doing what I was doing, and but an opportunity came that I did not expect to fill an unexpired 2-year term, and that was one of the seats that I held for 8 years, and so I felt like that was a sign and an opportunity to come back and to get to serve again. And I left all that would happen from there in God's hands, because that's who's in control. And this past election was very exciting, to say the least, but I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to get the opportunity to serve with every single one of you. I was thinking as I was riding in the parade yesterday that I'm the new guy, and when I say that, because it was funny, Commissioner Adcock just saying this. I was talking about this with Commissioner Harris. I've been here since 1999, so 24 years since I graduated Campbell Law School in 99. And I'm the new guy because the four wonderful people sitting next to me have been here all their lives. And I just really think that's awesome, especially as I was going to say, as Commissioner Adcock said, with a town that's growing at the rate we're growing, and so many new people that we're represented by people who have seen all of that change and are here and are leading our community, and the perspective that that gives every one of them. And so I'm excited and honored to be part of that. Fuquay-Varina has a beautiful history, and part of that is right here at this table, and I am excited about that and helping to lead Fuquay-Varina into the future. I would thank God, of course, first of all, for being here, my family, my wife Tricia, our kids, my bonus kids, and my family who's here tonight, my father and mother, my brother. Thank you for swearing me in, his wife Alicia, and friends, and the citizens of Fuquay-Varina who voted for me. I'm ready to get to work. I'm ready to represent, and I am truly honored. And in these last few weeks, I joked around and I said that if I got to sit here, if I made it to this table, I was going to give this table a kiss. I was so excited to be here. So thank you, God. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. I'm honored to be here tonight in this position again. You know, Fuquay-Varina is a family community. I heard a lot of people up here talk about family, and I'm ecstatic to have my family here tonight. My little girl, I'm sitting on the front row, 6 years old, and she sat there quiet. That's right, baby girl. Sat there quietly the whole time, behaved very well, and her big brother, Jake, big boy named Jake, right behind her is 8 years old, and both have sat there so well behaved tonight, and I'm so proud of y'all. And you know, this is, and my wife Heather, that's on the front row beside them, as Charlie mentioned, with family is what, and several others, you have these conversations with on town board, because town board takes a lot of time out of anybody up here. It takes a lot of time, and we do it because we want to give back to our community, but for a family right there. And I grew up in Fuquay-Varina, and I wanted, when I first got involved on town council, my kids to have the same wonderful experiences I had growing up in Fuquay-Varina. And I know that we'll continue to provide that for our citizens in Fuquay-Varina, a great atmosphere, a place to live, work, play, and raise your family. My parents that are sitting right there with Jake in my mother's lap, and my father beside my brother, I thank y'all very much for helping to support me and helping my family and helping with our children and supporting me and helping me to get here. My brother Brandon, who is an attorney and grew up in Fuquay-Varina also, and swearing me in tonight. Brandon, thank you for coming to swear me in tonight, and thank y'all for y'all's support right there. The 6 of y'all right there, it means a lot to me, and I can't do this without y'all right there, so it's very, very appreciated. All the citizens of Fuquay-Varina, thank you for putting me in this position right here. I promise you we'll continue to do great things in Fuquay-Varina. I know we're not done. We have a lot of great projects we want to continue to do and things coming in the future. I promise you, I hear you on traffic. Traffic is the #1 focus of this board and will continue to be with a lot of projects that are coming up into fruition right there. So thank you for your support here tonight. Thank you for everybody that came. And by the way, other children, I saw lots of children in the audience today, and it's impressive all the children that are in here tonight coming to see government work and at the same time sitting there quietly. And because it's tough for a child to sit there for this long of a meeting. So thank you everybody for being here tonight. And thank you, my family. Heather, if you need to sneak out with Jake and Ann and put them to bed, I understand too. So thank you. Before we take a recess, we have 2 more items of business here tonight. First item of business is the election of the mayor pro tem. And for the election mayor pro tem, I'm going to recommend tonight Marilyn Gardner. Marilyn Gardner has been on the board for several years. Marilyn is routinely at town functions, town events. She knows how to run a meeting. She volunteers with the Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association, and Marilyn is a face you can see throughout our town. So I know Marilyn has the experience, and I have the confidence in her that if I can't be there, that she can run a meeting or go in the mayor's place somewhere. And so I'd be honored if this board would make a motion to support Marilyn Gardner to be mayor pro tem.
Mr. Mayor, I will make that motion for you. Make a motion to elect Commissioner Marilyn Gardner to serve.
Go ahead.
To serve a 2-year appointment as mayor pro tem for the town of Fuquay-Varina.
And I would second that.
We have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, and thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you. Thank you for that vote of confidence.
Next item before our recess is the appointment of town board committees and organizations. I am going to pass these out to the board members and then read these to the board members as they go down the line. These are board committees. First one is the Law and Finance Committee. My appointment of that is Marilyn Gardner to be the chair, followed by Charlie Adcock and Brian Haynes. The Public Works Committee, I'm appointing Brian Haynes to be chair, Bill Harris to be a member, Jason Wunsch to be a member. The Economic Development Committee, I'm appointing Charlie Adcock as the chair, Bill Harris as a member, Jason Wunsch as a member. And the Public Safety Committee, I'm appointing Jason Wunsch as the chair, Charlie Adcock as a member, and Brian Haynes as a member. Additionally, Marilyn Gardner will serve as the Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association Town Liaison and the liaison to the Fuquay-Varina Board Museums. Commissioner Harris, who is currently the president of the North Carolina League of Municipalities, will continue to serve in this capacity. Chamber of Commerce, I, the mayor, will be the ex officio member. I am also the representative for Executive Board on Campo. The alternate for the Executive Board of Campo is Commissioner Charlie Adcock. Triangle J, Council of Government Board of Delegates. Commissioner Jason Wunsch will be the town delegate. Commissioner Brian Haynes will be the alternate town delegate. Motion from the board to accept these nominations for appointment.
Make a motion to accept these nominations as made by our Mayor Massengill.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, everybody. We will take a 15-minute recess so that you may have time to wish family, friends, anybody off. Anybody's welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting tonight, but I know some of you have came just for this, so we will have a 15-minute recess. Good evening once again. I now call to order the business meeting of the December 4, 2023 Fuquay-Varina Town Board. Don't jump out of your skin. At this time, I ask that Town Manager Mitchell review the meeting protocol for public participation as it relates to this meeting. Adam, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you again. Good evening, Board and public. Tonight's Town Board meeting is both in person and live streamed on the town's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Tonight's meeting contains a public comment period and 4 scheduled public hearings. The public is invited to comment in person. When it is the appropriate time, Mayor Massengill will call on those wishing to address the Town Board. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the Town Board during the public comment period should provide your name and address on the green registration sheet by the podium prior to the public comment period beginning. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the Town Board during a scheduled public hearing should provide your name and address on the white registration sheet by the podium. We ask all those wishing to address the Town Board either during the public comment period or a scheduled public hearing to begin their comments by clearly stating their name and address for the public record. The public is asked to keep all comments to 3 minutes so that all that wish to speak can be heard in a timely manner. To be respectful of those that may have different views on matters addressed by the Town Board, we ask that all in attendance respect the decorum of the meeting by refraining from clapping, making loud noises, and generally showing support or displeasure for comments made during the public comment period or public hearings. Police Chief Medina will be asked to escort from the boardroom anyone not respecting the process, and it is the discretion of the mayor as presiding officer of this meeting as to whether to continue the public comment period and/or public hearings if the meeting protocol is not followed. And this concludes the protocol for tonight's meeting.
First item of business is the approval of the minutes from the November 21st, 2023 regular scheduled Town Board meeting. No changes or additions. I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is item 12A, presentation, Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association Board recognition. I'll be providing more information about this agenda item. There are 2 town board members rolling off the Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association Board of Directors. We have a variety of the Fuquay-Varina Downtown Board of Association board members here tonight. Raise your hand, please, if you're involved, if you're either on the board or a member of the Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association.
Used to friends.
Last year, all of y'all joined too, so you're friends. First of all, thank y'all for being here tonight to support these two members as they roll off the board of directors. The Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association, for anybody in here that may not be aware, is an organization that works hard to support and thrive our 2 downtowns, both Fuquay and Varina, and continue to support our businesses. They do a lot of event planning and a lot of volunteer time and hard work here in Fuquay-Varina, and so it has been an incredible program that y'all run and what you do in our community. So here tonight, first, Brandy Taylor. Brandy Taylor is a dedicated member of the Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association Board of Directors for 7 years, completed 2 terms, and an additional year as past chairwoman. Throughout her tenure, she contributed significantly in various roles, such as the nominations committee, treasurer, and board chairwoman. Although she will be missed on the board, Brandy remains committed, now serving on the business promotions committee, and her crucial involvement in downtown has been integral to Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association's success, and she's always ready to lend a hand where needed. And she has great Christmas decorations too. Brandy, come on up here, please. Brandy, I would like to present this piece of artwork for you in honor of your time that you have served with Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association. Thank you, Brandy. Molly Stevenson, I mentioned earlier tonight, that was here. Molly Stevenson, I mentioned, was a former Town Board of Commissioners member. Molly Stevenson has been in Fuquay-Varina pretty much all of her life. And, well, so have I, Molly, but yeah, we both have. But Molly has been instrumental with the Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association and starting the Main Street program and her involvement in Fuquay-Varina here in town for over 30 years. And so celebrating Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association's 30th anniversary this year would not be possible without Molly. As one of FVDA's official incorporators, she played a key role in bringing the Main Street model to Fuquay-Varina in 1993. Molly's unmatched dedication to downtown, showcased through diverse roles over the years, makes Molly invaluable to the town. While Molly is rolling off FVDA's board of directors, we know she will continue to be involved, and her wisdom will always be a part of Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association's master plan. We express our gratitude to Molly and proudly present her with the Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association's 2023 Lifetime Achievement Award. Hey. Congratulations, Molly. Brandy, congratulations. Thank you both. Next presentation is the Dashmore Environmental Stewardship Award. More information about this agenda item will be presented. Engineering Director Paulin. Matt, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. Helping me present this agenda item tonight is going to be Jennifer Mitchell, our Environmental Program Coordinator. The purpose of this agenda item is to present the town's Dashmore Environmental Stewardship Award to Lincoln Heights Magnet Elementary School Environmental Connections Program and recognize Environmental Connections Integration Specialist Laura Wood. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to Jennifer Mitchell, who is going to present the award.
Good evening. So this is our second Dashmore Environmental Stewardship Award. With us tonight with Lincoln Heights, let's say it the right way, Lincoln Heights Environmental Connections Magnet Elementary School. We have, we have Principal Scott Gayton. We have Assistant Principal Anita McAuley and Laura Wood, who Matt said is their Environmental Connections Integration Specialist. I like the tongue twisters. So our Environmental Stewardship Award, for those of you guys that are new to the board, it recognizes contributions of a civic nature as it relates to the town's water resources. To be eligible for this award, they had to have made a sincere effort to help stormwater awareness for the town. I know you guys have seen our stormwater videos, our series. These guys all own our stormwater t-shirts, but this is all a part of our stormwater awareness campaign and public education. Lincoln Heights, as one of their value statements, is to engage all students in hands-on environmental opportunities. And I'm gonna, where's the clicker? Thank you. So school grounds include an outdoor classroom where teachers engage their students in hands-on learning with a mini pond, a pollinator garden, bird nesting boxes, and a greenhouse and a cistern. And they're also a green ribbon school where Lincoln Heights works with Wake Green Schools Partnership to advance environmental literacy and sustainability at all Wake County schools. They also have multiple activities throughout the year, including the Litter Bugs Me, which is a campus cleanup where they go and they pick up trash. They also do Let's Take a Hike, which is a litter pickup at the Carol Howard Johnson Environmental Education Park. And then they've partnered with us for many years doing stormwater outreach directly in the school. We often take our EnviroScape and teach their 3rd through 5th graders. We have a lot of experience partnering with them, and we enjoy doing so. And we're just real excited to be here tonight to present this award to them. You can see Laura here is actually, this is for our Stormwater series. They actually were in some of our videos, and that is her teaching them out in their courtyard area. And is that your bioretention area right there?
Nope, that's our mini pond.
Your mini pond. And then here's some of the outreach we do there. We have somebody with the Clean Water Education Partnership teaching the 3rd and 4th and 5th graders. And then there's our EnviroScape there on the left. And then we sometimes work the events they have on campus. And then as you can see, the gentleman in the greenhouse that they have on site, they were actually filming that area as well for our series. So we're just really happy to be partnered with Lincoln Heights, and we want you to join us in giving them this honor. And
It starts young with kids at schools, learning about the environment and being able to take care of our future. And Lincoln Heights spending time educating our kids and our future here in Fuquay-Varina about how to take care of the earth and how we can move forward and continue to live here in this wonderful planet in Fuquay-Varina. It means a lot what y'all are doing here. So thank you for taking the initiative, and thank you for partnering with our engineering department. When the engineering department started this program, this is exactly what they wanted to be able to partner with organizations in Fuquay-Varina to be able to help bring awareness and help make the quality of life better for everybody in town. So thank y'all so much for taking your time, and I want to present to you the 2023 Dashmore Environmental Stewardship Award, Lincoln Heights Environmental Connections Magnet Elementary School, on today, December 4th, 2023. Congratulations and thank you. Two more things. Here I have the 2023 Dashmore Environmental Stewardship Award for Laura Wood, Environmental Connections Integration Specialist. And on this box is engraved December 4th, 2023. And inside of this box right here, can't drop it. This is a wooden pin right here, made out of wood, engraved with your name on it. So thank you so much. Next, we have the public comment period. At this time, the deputy town clerk will call on individuals that are in attendance and have registered to address the town board prior to the meeting. The town comment period is a time for the public to address the town board about any matter that is not the subject of a scheduled public hearing. Those speaking are asked to begin by clearly stating your name and address for the public record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes in order that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. Teresa, do you have anybody signed up?
Richard Brown.
Mr. Brown?
Good evening, City Council and Mayor. Congratulations first on seating tonight.
Do state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Richard Brown. I live at 725 Laurel Spring Drive, Fuquay-Varina. Thank you. Before I get started, I'd like to petition the mayor for a few extra moments. What I have prepared will take maybe 5 instead of 3 minutes. Otherwise, I will be speed reading and you won't be able to be inaudible.
We do keep comments at 3 minutes tonight, sir.
All right, maybe I should come back at another time then.
Your time is running.
I won't get through it. It's just 2 more minutes, but it's essential. It's from your constituents. I'm here as one, but I represent many. It may behoove you just to give me a few extra minutes. I wanted to take a few moments at least to congratulate you and thank you for this opportunity to speak. So will I have those extra minutes or no?
Your time is running, sir.
Thank you very much. We'll be back.
Thank you. Teresa, do you have anybody else?
Ashley Manstead.
Ms. Manstead, welcome. Come on up.
My name's Ashley Manstead. I live at 5608 Brushy Meadows Drive in Fuquay-Varina. I represent the Hilltop Needmore Town Park and Preserve Advocacy Group. As I know, many of you are aware, our group's involvement in opposing the recent parks bond is largely why it failed. This was only the 3rd bond in Wake County in over a decade to be defeated. We brought out people whose only purpose for going to the poll was to vote no on the parks bond. We had around 300 people join our group page in the days prior to the bond vote, which is now well over 5,000 people, and our posts were reaching upwards of 10,000 people. So why did this issue catch fire as it did? First of all, our park advocates remember the bait and switch that Wake County pulled on the park effort a few years ago. And now anything the town does that goes against what the people value and desire at this location is going to feel very personal. You awoke a sleeping giant with a simple threat of damaging what hundreds of people fought so hard for, green space preservation. When this park was conveyed from Wake County to the town and the word preserve was included in the title, it finally felt like a win. But there are expectations that come along with that word. So last year, when you passed a master plan that tried to Tetris in a bunch of active recreational amenities, which would level more trees, more rolling hills, and scare away wildlife, taxpayers had no choice but to oppose the bond that would fund the destruction of what they valued most. The master plan simply did not represent your own survey results and the voices of the people. So we ask you now, both continuing and new leaders, please just make it right. Do whatever it takes in the weeks ahead to work towards amending the master plan that was so overwhelmingly unpopular that it tanked what would have otherwise been a successful $60 million bond measure. Prioritize the wants and needs of the people that you represent. Citizens have been asking for years for this location to be a safe space, a preserve that allows for quiet and serene connections with nature for their physical and mental well-beings. Make the word preserve the focus of your master plan, and the people will applaud you for it. Be fiscally responsible and first bring the trails up to the town's quality and width standards so that they're ADA compliant. But please do not spend millions of dollars on expensive land grading and adding a bunch of amenities that people don't want there. Instead, invest our tax dollars wisely on hiking trails, open play areas, natural playgrounds, outdoor classrooms, picnic areas, wildlife observation and preservation. So, in conclusion, show the people of Fuquay that their voices have been heard. so that we can support you, whether it be on your next bond measure, in your next election, or in any of your other efforts to make Fuquay-Varina a great place to live, work, and play. Amend the master plan, and you will save taxpayer money and give the people what they want at the same time. That is what a true win looks like for us all, because sometimes a little less development can be a dash more. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. There will not be clapping after each speaker tonight, folks. We will not continue public comment period. Teresa, do you have anybody else signed up?
Christopher Vaughn.
Christopher, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board. Christopher Warren, 741 Catherine Lake Court. I'm also going to speak a little bit about the parks bond that failed last month. So just to start off, I'm not affiliated with any of the groups here tonight. I'm just here on my own fruition, but I wanted to critique and offer what I thought was the reason why the bond might have failed. And I'm going to look at it from kind of a contractual perspective. In my day job, I work as part of what I do is I propose contracts to the federal government, usually the Department of DoD, and asking for, trying to get money for some of the various projects that we do at my company. And so when I was reading about some of what the parks bond was going to fund, I found that the scope was very broad, but I also found that it was not specific enough. So I live in the South Lakes neighborhood, so I'll focus on one aspect, which is just the greenway, because that was what I was most interested in. And some of the language I found from the Southern Living magazine, the autumn issue, was that for the greenway, you were going to just expand it, but there was no specifics. So with the amount of money involved, I think you really need to offer clear objectives, what the bond would fund, and then within each objective, I think very specific, like a statement of work. What actions, what kind of cost, what kind of contractors, estimates. And I'll say that I haven't read the master plan that I just learned about, and I might go and do that. But I feel like the town did not adequately address some of these specifics, and I was unaware when I had to make my decision to vote for or against the bond on election day. And so I just wanted to offer that critique and hope that maybe we can look at this issue again, maybe in the next, I don't know how the process works, but maybe in the next election sometime. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Teresa, do you have anybody else signed up?
James Tedder.
Mr. Tedder? James Tedder? Teresa, anybody else?
That's all.
Okay. Thank you for your comments tonight, folks. I do believe that what the board will be in the future, obviously just got sworn in tonight and have a new board, will be looking at the future. And in regards to that, it's an expensive time out there right now between inflation, tax increases, fees that are raised across the place. You see the news stories every day talk about rising cost of living every day. And so I think that this is going to give the board a time to look at plans for the future from a standpoint of funding, from a standpoint of design, and a standpoint of implementation. And that's what this board will be considering in the future right now. But a bond has failed, just as pointed out here tonight, and the board is very aware of that. I do believe that our community values parks and rec activities, and that this board's job is to evaluate how we can provide those types of programs in the future in ways that our citizens will be support from a funding standpoint, in ways that can move forward. But this board is open and willing to move, continue Parks and Rec support in our town, but also looking at our current plans of how we're moving forward at the same time. So thank you for coming tonight, folks. There are no items tabled from a previous meeting. We do have a public hearing tonight. Public hearings are a time for the petitioner to present his or her request and for the public to give input and voice their favor or opposition to the request. If you wish to speak and are physically in attendance, please step forward to the podium one at a time. Provide your name and address on the registration log at the podium and clearly state your name and address for the public record. I ask all those addressing the town board to please limit your comments to 3 minutes in order that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. First public hearing, item 15A, voluntary annexation petition, William L. Dickens and Stephanie D. Parker, 6411 Burt Road, ANX 2022-12. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davidson. Pam, good evening.
Good evening. I'm submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider an annexation ordinance extending the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina following receipt of a petition for voluntary annexation of property located at 6411 Burt Road, owned by William L. Dickens and Stephanie D. Parker, containing approximately 44.15 acres, and to approve the related declaration annexation agreement. The 44.15 acre property is non-contiguous to the town's corporate limits. The property may connect to the Harnett Regional Water System. Sewer is not currently available, but may be extended with development as stated in the Declaration Annexation Agreement. The subject property will be served with town sanitation and recycling services. At the November 21st, 2023 meeting, the town clerk certified that the petition was sufficient and met the requirements prescribed by the North Carolina General Statutes, and the town board adopted a resolution setting a public hearing for tonight's town board meeting. The present total value of the portion of property being annexed is $735,350. The suggested motion tonight is to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by William L. Dickens and Stephanie D. Parker, ANX 2022-12, and to approve the declaration of annexation agreements as presented and recommended. I'm available for any questions.
I don't think I have any questions at this time, Pam. Thank you very much. The hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? The hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what is the pleasure by the board?
Mayor Massengill, I move that we adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by the William L. Dickens and Stephanie D. Parker, and to approve the declaration of annexation agreement as presented and recommended.
Well, second. Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, item 15B, zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment, the Curry Engineering Group, PLC, 6411 Burt Road, REZ 2022-07. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davidson. Hearing is now, Pam, good evening again.
I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a requested zoning map amendment for a total of 43.8 acres located at 6411 Burt Road from the Wake County R30 zoning district to the town's residential low-density conditional zoning district, and the corresponding land use plan amendment from rural residential classification to single-family neighborhood classification. The subject property was just annexed into town jurisdiction from the urban service area. But the petitioner has requested only single-family residential uses and home occupations be permitted at the subject property. Additionally, the petitioner has requested a number of site-specific conditions. The petitioner has proposed a land use plan amendment from the rural residential classification to the single-family neighborhood classification, as it is more compatible with the character of surrounding uses. In addition, the conceptual plan included with the request demonstrates compliance with many of the zoning conditions offered and single-family neighborhood development goals as described in the 2040 Land Use Plan. At the November 20th, 2023 regular meeting, the Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval. The suggested motion tonight is to approve REZ 2022-07, a zoning map amendment for 6411 Burt Road from the Wake County R30 zoning district to the residential low-density conditional zoning district, and the corresponding land use plan amendment from the rural residential classification to the single-family neighborhood classification, as it is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. I'm available for any questions.
I think any questions at this time, Director Davison? Thank you very much. The hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment? Andy, good evening.
Mayor, Town Board, Andy Petty, Curry Engineering Group, 205 South Fuquay Avenue. Staff did a really good job, and then to be time sensitive and stay under our 3 minutes, I'm not going to repeat what she said, but I did want to point out that I think we've put together an application that is complementary with a bunch of conditions that's complementary to the neighborhood, as well as also provides a development that I think the town will be proud of, provide a good opportunity for the town. And I just want to let you know I'm here to answer any questions or concerns you may have.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comments. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment? The hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve REZ 2022-07 as zoning map amendment for 6411 Burt Road for the Wake County, from the Wake County R30 zoning district to the residential low-density conditional zoning district, and the corresponding land use plan amendment for the rural residential classification to the single-family neighborhood classification, as is reasonable in the best interest of public for the reasons identified by management and staff.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 15C, zoning map and land use plan amendment, Brian L. Jones, Design Line Studios, PLC, 213 Southwest Street, REZ-2023-09. More information about the agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison. Pam, good evening again.
I'm submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a requested zoning map amendment for a total of .112 acres located at 213 Southwest Street from the residential medium density zoning district to the downtown center 2 conditional zoning district, and the corresponding land use plan amendment from town center residential to downtown. The petitioner has requested that only townhomes and related accessory uses be allowed. Additionally, the petitioner has requested a number of site-specific conditions that are outlined in the accompanying plot plan, which also illustrates the 3 townhouses proposed. The petitioner has proposed a land use plan amendment from the town center classification to the downtown classification, as it is more compatible with the proposed use of the property as well as the adjacent neighborhood. The land use plan amendment, if approved, would allow for improvements that are consistent and appropriate for the surrounding area. At the November 20th, 2023 regular meeting, the Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval. The suggested motion tonight is to approve REZ 2023-09, a zoning map amendment for 213 Southwest Street from the residential medium-density zoning district to the downtown center 2 conditional zoning district, and the corresponding land use plan amendment from town center residential to downtown, as is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. I am available to answer any questions.
Any questions? No? Okay, thank you, Pam. Hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment? The hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve REZ 2023-09, a zoning map amendment for 213 Southwest Street from the residential medium density RMD zoning district to the downtown center 2 conditional zoning district, DC2 CZD, and the corresponding land use plan amendment from town center residential, TCR, to downtown DT, as it is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 15D, public hearing, zoning map amendment, Judson Smith, Capital Match LLC, 498 Longfellow Street, REZ 2023-13. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison. Pamela, this is your last one.
Last one tonight. I'm submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a requested zoning map amendment for a total of .17 acres located at 498 Longfellow Street from the residential low-density zoning district to the town center residential zoning district. The petitioner has submitted a plot plan for 2 townhomes and a number of site-specific conditions. Section 9-1505 in the Land Development Ordinance defines lots 215 and 216 as lots of record, as they were recorded by the Wake County Register of Deeds prior to December 30th, 2016. As such, the property owner is permitted by right to construct 1 single-family home on each lot. LDO Section 9-1505 also has provisions, like in this case, where the lots are unable to conform to the lot area and setback standards of the residential low-density zoning district, that the minimum side setback may be reduced to 5 feet and the minimum rear setback may be reduced to 10 feet. The requested TCR zoning and proposed townhouse development will bring the property into compliance with current codes and standards instead of developing under the non-conforming lot of record allowances. At the November 20th, 2023 regular meeting, board members discussed the impact of the development of 498 Longfellow Street will have on the adjacent property. After discussion regarding the adjacent property, 490 Longfellow Street, and the rights of property owners to develop their property versus the visual impacts to neighboring properties, the planning board voted 4-1 to recommend approval. The one dissenting vote was cast because of the potential visual impacts of the development of 498 Longfellow Street on the neighboring property. It was also confirmed by staff during that discussion that the town does not regulate view corridors from one property to another. The suggested motion tonight is to approve REZ 2023-13, a zoning map amendment at 498 Longfellow Street from the residential low-density zoning district to the town center residential zoning district. The proposed amendment is consistent with the 2040 Community Vision Land Use Plan and reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. I'm available to answer any questions.
You said there was
Go
one
ahead, Bill.
dissenting, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
There was one dissenting vote for,
Against the-
vote was not unanimous.
Right.
And their reason was for?
Concerns of the view corridor from the neighboring property.
Okay, that's based on what the proposed development would be.
So
There will be some visual-
it's a vacant lot right now, so any development on a vacant lot will affect views from the neighboring property.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Hearing is now, thank you, Pam. The hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment?
How you doing? Judson Smith, 1441 East Broad Street. Pam, thank you for your work on this project. After tonight, I have a new appreciation for the time that you guys put in. So we've been here since the beginning, so it takes a little bit. I've carried out 2 other TCR zone projects in this neighborhood that were very well received, and we're excited to do that again. A couple of points I feel like are worth mentioning is 453 Longfellow Street has received a TCR zoning. That is on this same street, just a few lots down from this site. It's also my understanding that these lots are currently buildable, but with a much different product than TCR would hold me accountable for. So I hope that you guys will see that the same way, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment? To the police chief. Go ahead, sir.
Chris Coleman, 490 Longfellow Street. The document you have in your hand is basically a transcript from the last planning board meeting, and I'm not going to read it all just because of the sake of time, but I do want to kind of paraphrase some of the highlighted areas. The chairman, Andy Petty, that night talked a lot about the right to fair and highest best use of the properties. That should apply to the builder as well as the existing people who live there. My mother has right to highest and best use of her property as well. This property is not going to allow her to do so. Number 5, if you look at it, it talks about the neighborhood meeting that was really quick. I don't think it was prepared for. I won't go into that. Let's move forward. Number 7, the chairman in that meeting acknowledged, and you can read it for yourself, he acknowledges that the current lot is too small for RLD to build a house on. So to change it to TCR is basically a loophole to get around the fact that it's not buildable. I've been checking with the town for years, asking with the concern about somebody building this house too close to my mom's house. Anything that will be built there, you will probably be able to reach out from my mom's deck and touch this house. That's how small the lot is. Number 8, the planning director that night, Ms. Davison, she also acknowledged that for the current RLD, that you see in number 8, it's not big enough for a single-family house. If it's not big enough for a single-family house, why would we change the code to put 2 townhouses in a place that's too small for 1 house? I'm going to jump to number 14. The one dissenting vote was about the visual impacts, which Ms. Davison also said that it's not considered in there. I think it should be considered by the planning board to value somebody else's highest and best use. Again, my mom's house is so close existing, it's been there for 64 years, for where her deck is, which we use for basically our main entry, you will be able to reach out from her deck and probably touch this new property. Number 17, she talked about how the aesthetics are not considered in there. It's Chairman Andy Petty, he talked about the highest and best use on number 18. I believe the highest and best use should apply to the existing as well as anybody who wants to come and build. Again, number 23, we're talking about visuals and aesthetics. This is Michelle Peel. She's on planning board. She was the one dissenting vote. Number 24, again, Andy Petty talked about the highest and best use. You see in bold there, he says, but on the flip side, at what point does development trump impacting neighbors? We can't just keep developing and forget the people who have already been there. My mom's been there again, 64 years. At what point does this, does it not impact? The motion, Jay Adcock, he says, but you have a property owner, you're taking their rights away when they met the criteria. My mom's existing house at 490 also has rights. Her rights shouldn't be taken away just because there's a vacant lot. The other lots that he mentioned, where there are townhouses, there was nothing ever there. This lot has been empty and maintained by my family for more than 40-something years. And my mom was born there, raised there, married there, raised her family there. So all of that should be considered.
Sir, thank you for your time.
Everybody else is
Your
entitled to
time
highest
right
and best
there.
use, so should my mom.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody else wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment? The hearing is now closed. Moving to board discussion. Pam, I got a couple questions for you with comments that were made in reading this too. The existing zoning on the property, what can be built there that doesn't need approvals?
So there's kind of, that's a two-part answer. First of all, the RLD zoning, when the town applied their zoning, often from the county zoning to town zoning, they did basically a like to like. So I don't know the historical relevance of what the original zoning was, but generally when the town put our zoning on, we put something as close to it as possible. The residential low zoning district is a minimum 14,500 square foot lot with a minimum 80-foot width. There's nothing in this neighborhood that fits that. It just doesn't. And so the vision is the town center residential zoning gives you a palette, right? It gives you a palette of single-family, row homes, townhomes, duplexes, quadplexes, that we thought this is kind of that band right outside downtown that can support a variety of housing options, housing choices. In 1945, this area was platted as Lincoln Heights as 20-foot wide lots. The majority of them have been built in a combination of two lots. They put two lots together to give a 50-foot wide lot, and that's the situation here. So as a residential low-density lot, it can't be built on to meet the standards because the lot doesn't meet the standards. But we do have the lot of record, right? And so what that goes back to those original lots that were platted in 1945 that are 25 feet wide. There's two of them in this parcel that we're talking about tonight, right? And so technically from our lot of record standards, because the state statute and our code wants everyone to be able to build, you are allowed to, on a lot of record, build one residential structure. And so he could build basically 15-foot wide homes, one on each, with reduced setbacks, 5 feet sides, 10 feet rear. So today, without any approvals from the board, he could submit building permits to the inspections department for two houses, one on each lot, using those lot of record reduced setbacks.
Okay, so you're telling me being a non-conforming lot today as is, 2 building permits can be submitted tomorrow morning and go to construction on 2 15-foot wide houses there. This board in town has zero authority, state statute allows it to be built. What's the advantage of building 2 townhomes there versus building 2 15-foot wide houses there?
So the building 2 houses, if you notice right along on the notes, and the house will include the following, right? Decorative front door with transom, no vinyl siding on the facade of the home with the exception of trim and windows. Evergreen bushes to be planted on 3 sides of the foundations, front and both sides. He's proposing 3 street trees. He's submitted elevations, he's submitted a plot plan. So you guys get to see exactly what he's doing. It's a 19-foot wide home. It's going to be wider. It's going to be a higher quality than a 15-foot wide detached home on this property. So the bonus is we will be moving forward, bringing into compliance with our current TCR standards, and we will get potentially a higher quality house than we would if you built the lot of record standard. It's going to be a bigger house, hopefully with more features and
Bigger house, so the key is not 2 15-foot wide houses, but instead basically 1 38-foot wide, or 2 19-foot wide units, townhome units at that point. And the trade-off is instead of building 15-foot wide, getting 19, is that you can hold them to today's standards of what we'd like to see built there.
well, and with the rezoning, he's offering the glazed doors, the no vinyl and things like that are conditions that he's offering that he would not be held to with a lot of record.
What you're saying is basically they can build the whatever want to, as long as it's no more than 15 feet wide, right
There
there.
are no facade standards.
Nothing
if
at
he
all.
submitted a building, yep.
So whether this board, and I'm sure there's gonna be some other questions in a minute, but what I'm just making sure I understand is whether this board approves this or not tonight, the man can go build a 15-foot wide house tomorrow.
2.
So we're 2 of them. So when the other gentleman talked about his mother's property next door, how does that property next door impact it? He mentioned from a setback standpoint right there. It doesn't matter what you're telling me, something's can be built there either way, whether this is approved or not.
Yes.
Okay. If there's any, I know concern, I don't remember if it said tonight or I've heard before, concern about the adjacent property's location to this, whether it's, this property getting built, does the property next door have to move their building and become at 10-foot off setbacks or anything like that? Do they have to demo portions of their property? I assume that's no. I've never heard of anybody having to do that.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there is a deck built very close to the shared property line, but from what I've been told, and I'm not a surveyor or real estate agent, but to my knowledge, that goes right up to the property line, but does not encroach on his
Doesn't
property.
encroach. And since it doesn't, and if it encroached, then it's somebody else's property. It doesn't encroach, and it doesn't impact them. They may be able to touch the neighbors. Well, what's the setback next door?
So the house next door does not meet the current setbacks either, because
So they
again,
don't
it's,
meet any rules, okay.
yeah, so, and it is, I will say that the property next door is shifted, so it is closer to the shared property line than the other shop. It is not centered on the lot.
So what would this new building, what would be the distance?
So this one will have a minimum 5, so it looks like they're putting a 5.2 foot setback. I believe it's about 5 feet on the other side, so it'll be 10 feet in between.
Okay, I understand.
Approximately.
What, questions or comments? Board members?
So, so I grew up in the neighborhood, just put that out there. You know, our neighborhood has always been one of those neighborhoods where, honestly, most people, I feel like this is gonna be a kind of ongoing issue throughout the years with a lot of the properties that are there now because of how they were done and how the community at that time built stuff, did stuff. Even, you know, my mother's property, you know, stuff from the neighbor's property sits on it because that's just how community was in Fuquay. Most of those people in that neighborhood been there had their house for 40 to 60 to 70 years. So it's, the change is different. You know, definitely, I wasn't a big fan of a townhouse by no means. That's just me personally, just from community that's always been one-story, ranch-style homes for the most part, and now we're starting to change into two-story housing, which is changing the community. You know, I definitely, you know, that closeness of that porch, and you know, and I've been asking questions as management knows. I've been asking ever since, because you know, personally, one side. Plus, I understand from a town standpoint of this situation. Some of the other things I was looking at, now there's the driveways in the front with the stop signs and everything. I'm just looking at a traffic standpoint and everything from all that meets everything planning wise.
As far as I understand, because it's a local residential road, if you have any further specific engineering questions, we can always bring them on map polling.
And there's no, because I was looking at whether the parking could be in the front, back, which, you know, that's more than, you know, my scope would be, but I'm just trying to find the best possible solution. Totally understand that regardless the property owner can build. That's very given that they can build, and so now, but I do also want the best possible product because I'll have to see it every day. I don't know. Maybe some more people have some questions.
I'd like to make a comment, Mr.
Go ahead,
Mayor.
Commissioner Harris.
I have just a couple of thoughts about this proposal. First of all, this is an established neighborhood, as it was alluded to, and it was established notwithstanding the era and time when zoning laws were not necessarily conducive and inclusive for people who were African American at that particular point. This neighborhood has evolved and developed and is established. That's the first thing that I see. The second thing that I'm concerned about would be the density here as it is proposed. I do see some safety issues as it relates to the driveways being close to a major intersection, and Bridge Street is a highly traveled road now, mainly because of Lincoln Heights and the school there, which brings to me the concerns of safety. The next concern I have is when you look at how we're going to consider the impact that this may have on the existing property owner, there's always the question of where do my rights as a property owner infringe upon a person's right who would like to develop property, and it has an impact on me. And I think that that's the question, and that's what more than likely caused the dissenting vote, which concerns me. I much would prefer, when we have these kinds of proposals coming to us, it would be unanimous as opposed to having one dissenting vote, which brings to light that during the discussion, obviously, there was some issues brought up where one member of the planning board felt that the presentation and the information and the proposed design was too impactful for them to support this proposed project. Certainly, we don't want to inhibit any developer from doing what they can as far as developing in a particular community. But in some instances, what we are faced with, the historical development of communities and the changing that is coming with communities and how it's going to impact those people who are in established communities such as around the Bridge Street, Longfellow community. So from that standpoint, I would not support the proposed amendment.
Pam, two questions, follow up with you as we go through the line on there. Driveway's been discussed a couple times. Why don't you have Matt come up here and let's ask Matt a question about this driveway? I know 2 times that concern has been brought up. Matt, how does this driveway location, first of all, I'm assuming y'all would not have brought it here if it doesn't meet standards, but if this is not approved for a zoning map amendment and it's built under existing rules, what would existing rules allow for that driveway?
We cannot deny access to somebody's property.
So the driveway's getting built, period?
Yeah, I mean, Longfellow is a pretty sleepy street with regards to traffic. Bridge Street is pretty busy. However, we do have residences that do have driveways directly off of Bridge Street as well.
All right. So the driveway gets built whether it's approved or not, okay? I heard a comment about density. Pam, you said it's 2 lots there, 2 units can be built whether this is approved or not, and what they're
Yes,
asking
so-
approval
and-
is 2 units, so density 2 equals 2?
Right, well, so one of those challenges is that currently in our TCR standards, one of the housing options is a single-family detached home. But the minimum lot width for that is 60 feet, and a minimum lot size is 8,000 square feet. So even combining these lots, it does not meet the minimum standards for a single-family home. That's another
Make it
reason
simple.
why
What can they build tomorrow when, if it's not approved tonight, what can they build tomorrow?
2 detached homes.
2 houses tomorrow if it's unapproved tonight, and right now they're asking to build 2 houses.
They're
So
asking about 2 townhomes, but
2
on the
units.
flip side, a single-family detached home in the TCR standards this lot does not meet the standards for a single-family home if they combine these lots.
I'm trying to confirm density. I heard a comment was made in regard to density on how many units can be built there. And what I'm hearing you tell me is 2 units are built there, whether it's approved or denied.
Yes.
2 equals 2. Okay, all right. Any other questions or comments from board members?
Wanted to ask, you have in our packet here elevations showing what this could look like. Is there, the fact that it's in our package, is there any, I know we've got conditions in the zoning request, but do those elevations really mean anything as far as what we would expect? Or is, I guess I'm wondering if there's any kind of legal commitment when those elevations are in the package like that.
Right, so technically they are conceptual in nature, but we can definitely have the developer speak to his commitment to those conditions.
Could we pull up the elevations?
I don't think they're on the,
We can if you give us a second, I think. They're in the, Scott, they're in the agenda packet. Mr. Mayor, while the IT director is working to pull that up, can I just ask a question? of
Please,
Pam?
manager.
Make sure I understand. Pam, when you are speaking about a single-family home, one single-family home not meeting standards in TCR, you're referring to TCR because that's what the future land use plan calls for that property if it's ever rezoned?
that's correct.
That's, okay. That last link, Scott.
Okay, just my perspective, when I see that elevate, when I see that, that looks very nice to me. And so, I, you know, if I felt like that I could feel comfortable that something similar to that is going to be built on the property, versus it sounds like they legally have the right to build two homes, two detached homes without any guarantees on what the quality would be. It's making me kind of lean toward rezoning it with conditions if we can end up with a product like that. I like the elevation. I appreciate it being in here. I just kind of want to feel like we've got some assurity that the end product will actually look like these elevations or very similar.
Right. So one of the bonuses recently, in the last few years, we've seen substantial more facade conditions coming in with our rezonings for residential subdivisions. And so we actually have implemented a process when lots are platted and building permits are submitted. The planning department actually produces a checklist that actually is customized for that individual subdivision or zoning condition that lists that, and the builder has to basically check off confirming compliance with those zoning conditions, and that is submitted with the building permit, which then our zoning compliance officers confirm the elevation submitted with that checklist, and then that is again confirmed prior to CO being issued on that house. So we have follow through to make sure that these conditions are there.
I just want to make sure if builders are submitting elevations and we're being shown elevations, that there's some legal authority to make sure that what's built is very similar to what's been shown to us, that it's not a bait and switch kind of situation.
Right, that's the
And what
expectation. Again, the
and what I'm
developers here.
hearing-
Commissioner
so-
Eckhart, would you like me to call the petitioner up here? That
I
Pam's
would,
talking
but
about?
I just want to make sure I understood. Basically, what you told me was in the building permit process, you're not only looking at conditions, but you would be looking at elevations as well in approving those building permits?
I would think from a conceptual nature. Obviously, the actual conditions, we will be confirming
Okay,
accuracy.
all right. And let me ask one more follow-up. Of the conditions, can you read us what those conditions are? And if you could address where they are on these renderings?
Can you go back to the plot plan? So in a TCR zoning, a master plan is required. If it's less than 4 lots, a plot plan can be submitted. So being that this is 2 lots, the plot plan was submitted. Over here on the right side, it says house will include the following, and there are 4 things listed. Decorative front door with transom, no vinyl siding on the facade of the home with the exception of trim and windows, evergreen bushes to be planted on 3 sides of the foundation, front and both sides, and 3 street trees will be provided between the 2 lots.
Okay. I'm okay. I'd like to hear from the petitioner. I don't know if anybody else has any questions.
Petitioner, like to make a comment in regard to conditions for exterior elevation? You can come forward.
Yeah, so in regards to the elevations, it will be built on a slab, just as shown in the picture there, and then it will be hardy plank siding or something close to that. With the other projects that we did at Washington and Bridge Street, it was the same deal, and that's what, also why we put the driveways where we did, went off Washington Street and had success with that. So that kind of inspired, we knew it worked, so we wanted to do the same thing here.
Do you, just the rendering to me is very attractive. Do you expect that is how close to the actual building that you anticipate building, do you expect that rendering to be?
Yeah, it'll be very close to that. Some of the options you saw was the wood. Can we pull that picture back up? There you go. Some of the small wood detail there at the top, at the A-frames, that's something that's optional. So we'll just have to see how that looks. It may be a little bit overkill, but those wood features at the bottom will stay, and we'll be as close to that as we can.
And when you say the property, are you talking about the property on Washington Street? Is that the one that is at the corner of
Bridge and Washington. So there's two homes there that we did under TCR zoning, and it was the same thing. It was right before we were asked not to do any vinyl siding on that one, which we agreed to, and then we were also asked to do some of the same landscaping items. The driveway and easement items that came up in that hearing as well. We ran driveway off of Bridge Street, which to me, I know I don't live on Longfellow Street, but is a very similar side street, especially with the railroad tracks cut off now. We feel like there's enough buffer at the corner there where it's not blocking views. It's not a tough driveway to get out of. If you backed out or had room to turn around even and pull out of Longfellow Street, we feel like it was the safest spot. We thought it was a little better than putting them somewhere where they would pull right out onto Bridge Street, that one.
So it won't be the driveway that was built at that property the two properties you're talking about on Washington and Bridge, right?
Right, so the way you're familiar with what those look like right now, so the way that driveway comes off Bridge is exactly how these will orient to that intersection, which I feel like is the safer option than tucking them behind and putting somebody out on, because we all know that school zone in there gets nuts, so.
For me, I'm just worried about, because I drive that road, just from the people who moved into the properties once they were built. Most had to park on the side of the building, on the back of the building, and I just don't want to make sure it'll be a nuisance to the neighbors how they have to park when they have more than one or two cars at that property. I think I complained to management one time about, because there's actual school zone sign there at that part, and between that and the mailbox of the properties, it's always been an issue with people where they've knocked down. So I'm just trying to make sure it's conducive and it's good for everybody, just from a bunch of standpoints, safety standpoint, so many standpoints that I see, just from the driveway standpoint. If I'm looking at how that one was built there, that concerns me, because I've seen people have to back out of it, as well as seeing how people had to park if they had more than one or two cars. And then I don't want them to have to park, say, on the side between the existing neighbor and their property, because they need more space in that grass area, which I've seen at that property now, so, but yeah.
And this one's a little unique in that there is a lot of backyard in this setup, and then the Colemans have the driveway there back behind this property line. So I think any overflow in terms of cars, I'm with you. You don't want them parking between the house and Bridge Street, but there is plenty of room, depending on what kind of fencing situation. We'd be willing to accommodate to make that easier on the Colemans. And then, they would have room for overage and parking in the back if they needed it.
And like I said, I will say, thank you for, allowing us to contact you, definitely.
For sure.
To ask any options that could have been done, because, it was concerned when I first seen it. Management knew it was going to be a concern with me, so, definitely thank you for answering and looking back and seeing what's doable for you from a business standpoint as well, which I totally understand. As you have to make your money as well and make sure it's viable to your business. So I just want to say thank you for that as well.
Appreciate that.
Commissioner Haynes, any conditions you'd like to see in regards to this, the comments that you made?
I mean, at this point, if it doesn't pass, I'm afraid to see what the 2 15-foot houses would be, and with the sidewalk, with the driveways and everything, how that would look compared to this property. That's what concerns me now. What's the difference? Because then you have to have, I'm pretty sure there's gonna have to be some space between both of those houses at some point. So that's concerning me now to see what, if we do vote it down now, what those two 15-foot houses will look like compared to the product we have here. So that's the other thing that I worry about if we do vote it down now, if that makes sense.
Okay. Marilyn, Jason, any comments?
What were the safety conditions you said that we could put this here if there was a concern in terms of the driveway? What was that you had just mentioned?
Like if it got overflowed there?
Yeah.
There's enough space in the backyard where, you know, if somebody had 5 guests over, rather than just clogging the front of the street or parking in front of the Coleman's house, be very easy for them to pull off the road around another part of the house.
That was just the part I missed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our standards require 2 off-site parking spaces, which these lots could provide.
Commissioner Gardner, any comments?
I don't know. I just hear concerns here, but then when we don't have any, when something that is less desirable than this can be built, if we don't do this, I mean, I feel like we're between the rock and the hard place.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'd like to ask Mr. Smith
All right, stay
to
up there.
stay. The elevations that were given to us, I think look great.
Thank you.
My concern is that that there's not enough tie between the conditions given and the elevations presented. And I'm wondering if we could make a condition, basically looking at the structure and the elevations, the rendering, and actually include that as a condition into rezoning. I know that would make me feel much more comfortable about the request. But, I mean, that would be something you'd have to be comfortable with doing.
Which one specifically? Are you,
Exact picture.
doing this
I think
picture?
there's a front and a back, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the landscaping, Charlie, would probably, obviously landscaping with trees 50 foot tall, but you're talking about the rendering of the actual building, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking obviously is, supplies. But yeah, other than that, I could commit to being very, very close to this.
I think you got it. Just a yes or no question.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So what you need to state for the record, if what you're saying is that you voluntarily, Pam, tell them what to say. You voluntarily self-commit, condition yourself to build exactly that picture.
Right.
We're committing to the elevations submitted.
Yeah, that's what we plan to build, yes.
That words need to come out of your mouth.
We plan to build this exact picture right here,
You condition yourself to that.
and I condition myself to that.
It matters for
You're
the
good.
whole town attorney and stuff. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
thank you. I do have, I think in the room still maybe is our planning chairman. Andy, are you in the room still? You want to come up and say a comment in regards to the planning board?
I'll give the home address on this one since it's planning board, 1023 Lily Claire Lane. Planning board struggled with this one. We really did. We went back and forth. A lot of the same discussion you guys are having now, we had on the board side. Ultimately, I think we came to the decision to approve it because 2 things. One, it was in compliance with land use plan, and I think we kind of fearing that we just passed a new land use plan. If we went against it on something like this, were we setting a bad precedence? That was one thing. And then the other thing was, in regards to highest and best use, one of the things that we talked about was essentially, this is going to be a common theme in this neighborhood, that you're going to run into this, would be that if you have other properties that over time get inherited by families and they run into these same issues and they need to be rezoned to something that gets them out of those issues, and we've already voted against one, how could we vote for one but not the other? And ultimately, I think that's how we got there, was that the TCR district was put there in place kind of for this. It's unfortunate, this is kind of one of the first ones, and it's on a corner lot, and it's going to block a view. But ultimately, we don't have the power to stop that view from being blocked, because as has been stated here, they could build 2 buildings to block that now. So the fear was that if we stopped it, we would get a worse product, and we would set a precedence that we didn't really need to set. So in regards to highest and best use, our thought was we would actually protect the whole neighborhood in case you run into a hardship. Say you inherited a building that was not in compliance, could you do things to that building through its current zoning, or would you need to get it rezoned in order to do something to improve that building? And this would allow you to have that option to come in to get it rezoned and do those improvements. That's that. We struggled as a planning board with this, and we don't struggle with a ton of them, but this one was a struggle, and having the same discussions that you guys are having. But ultimately, we landed on it was in compliance with our maps and our plans, and we felt like it was, since it was one of the first ones to set the precedence in this neighborhood.
Is there any planning board members absent?
Jim Chandler was absent on that one.
Okay. So one out of attendance that night, 6 out of 7 recommended approval. Based on my list, right, there's 8 members. You said one's absent, that leaves 7.
The alternate wasn't
The alternate
there
wasn't there,
either,
so
so-
7 members.
Okay.
I think it was 5.
Okay.
Was the planning board made aware that if the property was not rezoned, that legally 2 small houses could be built on the property?
I don't think we talked about 2 small houses, but I do think we talked about the fact that there was a use by right that would allow at least for a structure to be built on that property itself. So we did know that there could be something built on that property. We knew there would be something that could be allowed to be built as the lot of record, as Pam said.
But what I've heard tonight is what could be built would be, there are 2 25-foot lots based on the original platting of the neighborhood. And legally, what I've heard is each 25-foot lot, we cannot stop someone from building a house on, and the setbacks would be 5 feet on the side, which means a 15-foot wide, what I call a shotgun house on each lot would be something that the town could not legally stop. And I bring that, and I ask that question mainly because I wish that had been that piece of it had been discussed at the planning board, because it might have been unanimous at that point. I don't know.
2 things if I can just offer. One, if we recombine these lots and they become a new combined lot, it no longer meets the lot of record standards, and it wouldn't meet the RLD standards. So you have a conundrum here. The other thing is since 2017, there have been 8 rezonings in this general vicinity to the town center residential. 1 was for townhouse units. 4 have been for row homes, which are kind of the shotgun house you're talking about, a minimum 30-foot wide lot that's rear-loaded. And 3 have been for single-family detached homes. So you can kind of see that this is not necessarily the first, but it is definitely, we are seeing the shift to a variety of housing options in this vicinity.
Thank you, Andy.
Sure.
Thank you, Pam. Any further questions for staff? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve, or a motion to disapprove, or a motion to approve with a volunteered condition, if you like that too. So there's 3 options. Motion to deny, motion to approve as presented, motion to approve with the condition volunteered. Mr. Harris?
I think we're going to see this more as I consider this issue. I think we need to have more discussion about it, because I think, as listening to what has been said, this is going to be characteristic of the Lincoln Heights area. I don't know if we're there yet, as far as my opinion about it, to approve this at request as presented. So my motion would be to deny the request.
Your motion is to deny the request. Okay, we have a
Yes.
motion on the table. Do we have a second? Motion
So with denying it, will that, is that tabling it to the next meet? So where are we at with this?
So the motion, Mr. Mayor, as I heard it, was to
Motion to
deny. It would not table it to the next meeting. It would just deny it, opening the door for the developer to build two 15-foot wide homes.
Any second to the motion?
Mr. Mayor, well. before-
Motion dies for lack of second. Go ahead, manager.
I just was going to ask our attorney if the deny did occur, isn't there a period of time before is there a period of time before a rezoning request can come back before this board?
There is, but the request would have to be substantially different if it comes back earlier.
Right.
Usually you're on about a 1-year time frame unless they bring something back that's different than what they brought before.
Which our zoning would not allow.
Okay. So motion on the, motion was to deny, died for lack of second. Any new motions proposed to be made?
Well, something that Commissioner Harris said made me think, when continually it was being said that we're gonna come up against this again and again and again in this area. Wouldn't it behoove us to take some time looking at this area and trying to figure out what the vision would be for the rest of the lots there in terms of things that are gonna look and work with safety issues the best? Or have we done that?
You've done that with the land use plan. You just did that as a planning board and a board and as the public. You identified the redevelopment or development, in this case, since there's nothing on the property, of lots in this neighborhood as being town center residential, as the preferred form of development. And town center residential is specific as to what can be developed on it. It really tries to push for, on 50-foot wide lots, or two 25-foot wide lots combined, it pushes for townhome development. If the lots were wider, 60-foot or some other dimension wider, then it opens the door for other forms of development. But in the case of the Lincoln Heights neighborhood, more often than not, you see two 25-foot wide lots that are combined for development, which is 50-foot, and the TCR zoning is designed for 50-foot wide lots to be primarily developed as townhomes. And this was something that the town board and planning board, the public, as we developed our 2040 land use plan, discussed. So we've already done that. Unless there's a change in direction that the board wants to take, that is the direction that the board had set for the future vision of this area.
Mr. Mayor, may I make one other comment?
Go ahead, Commissioner Harris.
What we're having to contend with here is historically the residue that comes from a time in this country when we were segregated, where there were different standards of development in this particular area of Fuquay-Varina. And in all consideration, the new zoning, in order for it to, the TCR zoning, I don't know if there's a discussion about equity and being fair or not, but I think historically, as Fuquay-Varina continues to grow, we will be confronted with that history that's part of who we are, as well as other communities throughout the South and in North Carolina, having to contend with the effect of old zoning laws and the proposal of new zoning laws, and how those laws are impacting people who were subjected to zoning laws at that period of time in our country. So even though out of the motivation for new land use plans, I think this brings to question how are we going to look at this particular area, because it's going to develop, and we do want to be fair to developers, but at the same time, those are the kinds of conditions that we as a board will continuously have to face, because you have citizens in those areas who were tax-paying citizens, like any other area of Fuquay, who paid their taxes, they bought their property, and they deserve a right not to be impacted negatively because of the growth that's coming to our area. So we need to have a conversation about that. Maybe this is what this is bringing us to, but we need to have a conversation about that if we're going to be fair to those residents in those well-established communities that were established during that particular time. So I think that this brings to mind that discussion. That's part of my reason for taking the position that I'm taking, is because I know that that's a reality. The old zoning laws were not even necessarily considered in areas like that. It was a hodgepodge of development. There were no sidewalks. In some instances, there was no pavement. I mean, there was no concerted infrastructure in those particular areas. So we've come to the point now, I believe, where we have to have a conversation about how we're going to treat people who grew up in those kinds of areas fair. They deserve not to be negatively impacted by growth. I mean, that's my position on that. That's why I would say, initially, I think we need to deny this request. We need to have some conversations about it. If we need to make some amendments or adjust our zoning laws to be considerate or to be fair and equitable to people who grew up or who own property in those long-term communities, I think we should do that. Those are my comments, Mr. Mayor.
James, from stuff that was built in the past to today's rules, I know the conversation keeps being made that two houses can get built there no matter what tomorrow. That's because of the old.
What it is, we have a non-conformity section in our code, is to keep from punishing people who have lots that were platted in the past from us forcing a new standard on them where they basically can't use their lot. So we have a provision in there that says if you have a lot that was legal at the time it was recorded, which when these lots in 1945, I don't know that we had a whole lot of zoning at that time.
Right.
So those lots are legal lots, so you can convey them separately because that subdivision's on record. So I think that the non-conforming ordinance is somewhat for fairness. That way people who have those old lots, they could build one home on them.
So is the idea
That's why that's in there.
So is the idea behind that legal standpoint that if you had a legal lot built in 1945 that was allowed to have a house built on it, then you can legally still build a house today? Hence, two lots in 1945, you can still build two houses today.
That's correct.
And so that's what goes back to what the board's discussing. Do you want two houses built there? That can be
And
whatever, or do you
another
want
problem-
this built here?
Another problem we have is if you try to recombine these old lots, like if you try to recombine these two into one, then all of a sudden you don't have a 1945 lot, but that new lot still doesn't meet our standards. So that's a problem. Absent some code amendment, absent a code amendment, we can't deal with that. Because a recombination, the resulting lot has to meet all standards.
That's where we are.
All right, any other motions to be made? Motion to approve with the new conditions, motion to ask him for another condition. So what happens if nobody makes a motion, James? Apparently nobody wants to make a motion.
So I was ready to vote in favor of the zoning request with the added condition of tying the elevations, the renderings to the zoning, because I think what is being proposed is a good-looking home. And without doing that, we could be causing more harm if because the owner of the property legally has the right to build on the two lots. So I'm ready to vote in favor of that motion tonight. But just like we've talked about with the planning board, it would have been nice to be unanimous. Sometimes you can't get unanimous, but I would like to feel like, that as a board, we're trying to work together on it. I don't want to just not do anything. I feel like that's, our job is to make a decision.
Right.
So, I don't want to deny it tonight. I would be in favor of approving the zoning with the tying the conditions to the elevations. But that's where I'm at.
Anybody else? agree with that?
I can support that.
Yeah, I would just make one final comment that I think that, I agree with what Commissioner Adcock's saying, that, if we do nothing, then we got two houses and it doesn't solve anything. Matter of fact, it seems like it would make things worse. And so, this, to me, of the two options that we're presented with today, sounds like the better of the two options.
Brian, you could have said it with that?
Let's put it to a vote.
I need somebody to make a motion. You can vote on anything.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve REZ 2023-13, a zoning map amendment at 498 Longfellow Street from residential low density zoning district to the town center residential zoning district. The proposed amendment is consistent with 2040 Community Vision Land Use Plan and reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. And I will add to that, the zoning request does have conditions, but I want to add to the conditions to the elevation condition, the elevation rendering that we have been given and has been volunteered as the petitioner should be added as a condition.
I would second that.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. What's the board's pleasure for the items on the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I would recommend that we accept items 16A, 16B, 16C, 16D, E, F, and G as presented and recommended.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. No items removed from consent agenda. Procedural ratifications. More information about this agenda item will be presented by me. Okay, first item on our procedural ratifications is the Planning Board. Planning Board and Board of Adjustment Advisory Board appointments. Planning Board, Andy Petty wishes to be reappointed, and the term will go 24 through 26. Jeff Stevens will be replacing the outgoing position of Alex Rickard as the town alternate member. Term would go 2024 through 2026. I'm getting ourselves out of order for a minute. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. Nolan Perry, who is a new one, is a town representative filling an unexpired term. Nolan's a resident of Fuquay-Varina. He's an attorney in a local law practice, which he has found a partner, and his legal focus is on real estate, business, and estate planning law. Nolan has served on the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and is a former chair. Additionally, Nolan is a board member for Campbell University's Presidential Board of Advisors. Nolan is a member of the FEDA and is active in the community. Nolan is a graduate of Leadership Fuquay-Varina. The appointment of Jeff Stevens as an in-town alternative representative. Jeff is a resident of Fuquay-Varina. He currently serves as a board member for the Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce and Fuquay-Varina Economic Development Commission. Jeff is a banker with First Federal Bank in Fuquay-Varina, and he and his wife, Krista, recently opened Lollipop Children's Boutique in downtown Fuquay-Varina. Jeff is a graduate of Leadership Fuquay-Varina. Jeff, my little girl had your wife's shop's purse earlier tonight, just so you know, that's where that came from. Absent any further discussion, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Massengill, I move that we approve these recommendations as presented.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Board of Adjustment, reappointment of Andrew Rubley as in-town representative. Appointment of Catherine Tard as in-town representative. Catherine is a resident of Fuquay-Varina. She's the owner of KJT Law and has been a licensed and practicing lawyer in North Carolina since 2004. Some of Catherine's legal focuses include real estate law and business formation. Catherine is an active member of her church and has served as a board member for the Cape Fear Christian Academy. Also recommending the appointment of Douglas Condon as an in-town representative filling an unexpired term. Douglas is a resident of Fuquay-Varina. He works for a company that manages facilities, design, and construction management for the Wake County Public School System. Douglas has 25 years of experience in commercial real estate and construction project management. I recommend the appointment of Laura Shields as an alternate in-town representative. Laura is a resident of Fuquay-Varina for close to 20 years. She has been an active volunteer and heavily involved with Fuquay-Varina schools, having served on committees and boards. Laura works for Campbell University as Institutional Review Board Director. Absent any further discussion by the board, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, go ahead. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to ratify the Board of Adjustment positions recommended and named by you, sir.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Also, I am further appointing Andy Petty to serve as chairperson for the planning board for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2025. And additionally, I am appointing Dan Miller to serve as chairperson for the Board of Adjustment for a 1-year term ending December 31st, 2024. And as a report out to the board. Next item is item 18B, administrative reports. Preliminary subdivision plat, Gold Leaf subdivision, SUB PR 2023-04. More information about the agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison. You thought you were done, Pam.
And you're back.
I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a preliminary subdivision plat submitted by Burton Engineering for the Gold Leaf Crossing subdivision located at 1920, 1916, 1848, and 1852 North Main Street, 1505 Ideal Lane, and 1375 NC 42. The preliminary subdivision plat proposes infrastructure only for the Gold Leaf Crossing commercial development. Of the 14 lots proposed to be included in the first phase, 9 are designated as commercial lots. 3 will serve as private stormwater management parcels. 1 lot will serve as a sign lot, and 1 lot will be dedicated as public sewer pump station. 8 parcels are identified for future development, and 2 residual parcels will be created south of the railroad as a result of the boulevard dedication. Central to the development will be the construction of the Wallace-Adcock Boulevard, a 100-foot public right-of-way with a 4-lane median divided roadway and 10-foot side pass on both sides that will serve to connect US 401 to NC 42. At the November 17th regular meeting, the Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval. The suggested motion tonight is to approve the Gold Leaf Crossing subdivision, plat SUB PR 2023-04 as presented and recommended. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Director Davison. Any further questions for Director Davison? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, if you would, I'd appreciate it if the board would allow me to, or would vote to allow me to recuse myself from this.
Okay. Entertain a motion to recuse Commissioner Adcock from this item.
Motion to recuse Commissioner Adcock from this approval of the Gold Leaf Crossing preliminary subdivision plat sub PR 2023-04 is presented.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Would entertain a motion or any further questions or board discussion in regards to this item?
If there's no discussion, I would motion to approve the Gold Leaf Crossing preliminary subdivision plat sub PR 23-04 as presented and recommended, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We do have the developer in the room here tonight in regards to this, Mr. Rich Barta, and we're excited that y'all came here tonight with us here. Most importantly, our community is very excited about this project. Been itching for it. Got the approval tonight. When we seen a bulldozer.
We're very excited to take the next steps here. Appreciate everybody's concerted efforts from staff to like the body said. Thank you very much for your support, and looking forward to the next chapter coming up next year, early next year.
Early next year, I see a bulldozer.
We have a hard start date of April 1st, but we're going to start work before.
Good. Citizens are excited about this and really want to see it get going away. Not just the great commercial opportunities, but also all the road improvements that come with it at the same time.
Very excited. Thank you for all
So you're gonna have it by April 1st, is what I heard you say. Hopefully sooner, if weather allows, but by April 1st. All right. Be here ready for you, Rich. Thank you. And thank y'all for coming tonight, and thank you for this very much. Item 18C is our next administrative report, contract award, budget amendment, and project ordinance amendment HL 0028, Highway 401 Mill Creek Drive intersection improvements. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Engineering Director Poland.
I'd like to submit this agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official record of the town. And this one was strategically placed in the agenda. This is the HL 0028 Highway 401 Mill Creek Drive intersection improvements. It is essentially the entrance into the Gold Leaf development. It's an intersection operational improvements, includes curb and gutter, sidewalk, drainage improvements, signal upgrades. And so the town received a total of 4 bids on November 16th of 2023. Cardinal Civil Contracting was the lowest construction bidder in the amount of $239,748.89. This does not include the CEI costs or our DOT fees that we have to pay when we use federal funds. And so we do have a fiscal note. The total project cost is estimated to be at $3,316,438. The town had previously established a project ordinance of $1,536,000 and $1,536,438. If approved, the budget amendment will transfer $1.78 million from our roadway fee and lieu accounts to cover construction costs. The town has just recently reached out to Campo and asked for an additional $900,000, and so that will help us cover some of these overages as well. And so that municipal agreement will come back to the town board at a later date. Here's a concept of the improvements that we have. It's a lot of pavement.
It's beautiful, Pat. The public wants it.
So tonight, the recommended motion is to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $1.78 million, along with its corresponding project ordinance amendment, and award a contract for the construction of the Highway 401 and Mill Creek Drive intersection improvements project HL 0028 to Cardinal Civil Contracting LLC in the amount of $2,239,748.89, and authorize the town manager to execute the contract on behalf of the town, subject to the town attorney's review as to form. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any further questions for staff? Not, we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Massengill, I move that we, one, approve a budget amendment BA 24-24-11 in the amount of $1,780,000, along with its corresponding project ordinance amendment POA-24-07. 2, that we award a contract for the construction of the Highway 401 and Mill Creek Drive intersection improvements project HL 0028 to Cardinal Civil Contracting LLC in the amount of $2,239,748.89. And 3, that we authorize the town manager to execute the contract on behalf of the town, subject to the town attorney's review as to form.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Matt, you know my next question.
When? So hopefully I'm going to beat Rich, is what I'm thinking. It just depends. Right now we have a list of things to submit for concurrence. One is the certified minutes of this board meeting, and we are all ready to submit to DOT for concurrence once we get the certified minutes of tonight. So we will be submitting tomorrow for DOT concurrence.
So when do you think bulldozers will be there? You ain't got to give me a date. You can just say the month of, like,
March or
December.
April. March or April.
Now, Rich is still here in the background, so we're going to play a contest between the two of y'all. Who can get it started and done the fastest? I think that's what our citizens would love. So that'll be a friendly competition between the two of y'all.
Yes, sir.
Rich, he's aiming for February. That means you need January. All right, race is on.
All right.
Glad it's approved. Public wants it done, though, and I'm glad y'all are moving ahead on that. We need to get it done. Thank you. Administrative report, item 18D, preliminary subdivision plat, William Bluff subdivision, SUB PR 2023-01. More information about the agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison.
It's my grand finale.
You are done after this one, Pam, maybe?
Done after this one, I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a preliminary subdivision plat submitted by Curry Engineering Group, PLLC, for the Williams Bluff subdivision located at 6411 Burt Road. Contingent on the approval earlier today of REZ 2022-07 and ANX 2023-02, which were both approved, the submitted preliminary plat, William Bluff subdivision, is located at 6411 Burt Road on 42.14 acres in the residential low-density conditional zoning district. The preliminary subdivision plat proposes 58 residential lots. Minimum lot size permitted is 14,500 square feet. The minimum lot size provided is 14,508 square feet with an average lot size of 18,479 square feet. Zoning conditions limit the maximum density to 2 dwelling units per acre, and the proposed density is 1.38 dwelling units per acre. There's 5% or 2.11 acres of common green required and 2.19 acres of common green provided, in addition to 11.9 acres of total open space. At the November 17th, 2023 regular meeting, the Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval. I'd also like to note on this one thing, it is not required, but staff has suggested that developers and engineers run these concurrently through. So they take the preliminary plan and submit it and run it through to get staff approval before submitting the concept plan along with that rezoning. So tonight you have seen an annexation, a rezoning, and the preliminary plan. The bonus with that is once this preliminary plan has been staff approved, it's been vetted through engineering, utilities, fire, planning, erosion and stormwater. So we have a lot of confidence that this meets all our town standards. When they show you a concept plan on the rezoning, they match. So we are excited that both the developer and the engineer chose that. We think it really gives us a complete project to present to you all at one time. The suggested motion tonight is to approve the Williams Bluff preliminary subdivision plat, SUB PR 2023-01, as presented and recommended. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions or comments for Director Davison? All right, if not, we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Massengill, I move that we approve the William Bluffs preliminary subdivision plat sub PR 2023-01 as presented and recommended.
Second.
A motion second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 19A, Manager's Report, other business.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things to report to the town board this evening. I mentioned at our last meeting that the budget process was getting ready to get underway, and it has now officially begun. Department directors were emailed out information to begin the process of putting together their proposals for management to review and ultimately to bring to the town board for discussion at a budget workshop. As it pertains to our Human Resources Department, they're working through a number of initiatives with HR annual training for town employees and generally just staying busy with the hiring process, being the two biggest at the moment. Our Communications Department working on a number of initiatives as well, but the State of the Town address is one of our greatest focuses right now for the coming year for our citizens. The police department has, the chief and the leadership in the department have worked to be able to provide an officer wellness class for all of our PD staff, both sworn and non-sworn positions. And this will be offered by a national university, and it'll be free for all of our officers, and it'll take place in the month of December. And so wellness is an important thing for all of our employees, but particularly in the police department with the level of stress that comes from those positions. And so this will be excellent training and information for our officers. You probably have noticed since our last board meeting that the big tower behind the former town hall, now police station, finally has come down and been removed, as well as the back parking lot has been brought up to standards. And so exciting to check that box and finish that project. And we've still got a few more initiatives that we're working on the police department campus, but this being a big one, for the best use of our campus over there for the police department. The fire department has been active in the past month. A toy drive was ended, and it was a huge success. We want to thank our fire department for working with the community to collect toys for young people in our community, and I think that's going to go a long way this season. And they are actively working on a food drive as well, collecting non-perishable foods, and that can be collected through December 11th. So if you want to contribute to that, or you know anybody who might want to contribute to that, they can do so through December 11th at Fire Station Number 1. The fire department now has bulletproof vests and ballistic helmets that were provided by Wake County as a part of this year's budget, and this equipment will be placed on all staffed responding apparatus. If you'll remember the incident that happened in the city of Raleigh at the Hedingham subdivision, it brought new attention to the fact that there are other first responders than just law enforcement that can be put in dangerous situations. And so this was an initiative led by Wake County to make sure that all of our firefighters have bulletproof vests and ballistic helmets. And so we appreciate that investment that's being made for the safety of our employees. And the fire department is actively going through a hiring process now for 3 new firefighters that we hope to complete that process in the coming weeks. Parks and Recreation has been mighty busy in our community as of late as well. We had a very successful tree lighting ceremony that the Parks and Rec Department led the effort on this past Thursday night. We have submitted a Tree City USA application, and we hope to hear the results of that first of the year, January, February timeframe. The light improvements at Falcon Park are complete, and the contractors are now moving over to the Willow Lakes Park for light installation there as well, so that we have some nighttime play opportunity at Willow Lakes Park. And then slabs are being poured this week for Community Center North. So that project is continuing to advance, make progress. The weather has been helpful to that cause, and hopefully you'll start seeing Community Center North start sprouting out of the ground here in the not so distant future. Art Center is staying very busy. They're booking talent already now for the 2025 calendar year. And on December 1st, the 2024 Spring Series was announced. So if you haven't had the opportunity to take a look at that, go online and see all of the great performances and live entertainment opportunities that will be at the Art Center for the spring of 2024. Proud to say that today, digital plan submittal and payment went live with the town. Our IT department worked with the planning department to get that project in motion, and it has gone live today. And so now developers can submit plans via our digital platform without necessarily having to come in and do it in person, as well as payment. And so that will hopefully create some efficiencies and plan review as well, allowing us to have sort of a back and forth dialogue electronically with our development partners. The public works departments are staying actively busy. The loose leaf season is still in full swing, and so we're collecting leaves as fast as we can, and we're getting ready to come upon a very large garbage and recycle season with Christmas and holiday season upon us. That's some of the biggest garbage and recycle collection that we have all year long. And so our sanitation department is surely to be busy over the next many weeks. And the recycling market has moved to a more neutral position, which has financially created a better forecast for the town. Earlier this year, we were actually paying into that market. It's now moved into a more neutral position to where we're not actually having to pay for the products that we're taking to the recycling center. So that is good news. Our planning department it has completed the initial public outreach portion of the CTP, and so very soon the town board and the public will receive a presentation by our consultants, Kimberly Horn, on what was gathered through the public input process as it relates to transportation for the future of our community. Our engineering department is staying very active. You heard from Matt this evening. Number one, they're just very busy with a right-of-way acquisition for several transportation projects. But above and beyond that, 4 of our transportation projects that are being funded by the 2021 transportation bond are now at 90% design completion. And so we're getting very close to the threshold where we're going to be able to bid those projects out and go to construction. We're thinking those 4 projects, hopefully in the spring timeframe, will be in a position to move forward. When you're using bond funds and don't necessarily have federal funds tied into them. You're using local funds versus federal funds. It allows those projects to advance much quicker. That's the Whittitt Road roundabout, the Southeast Judd Anger operational improvements intersection, the NC 55 James Slaughter Road intersection operational improvements, and then the Bass Lake Sunset Lake Road Hilltop Needmore intersection operational improvements. So we'll be looking to continue moving those projects forward as quickly as possible to bring exciting contract awards to the town board, just like we did tonight for Mill Creek. Public Utilities Department, of course, you know we've got a lot of activity going on in water and sewer, a lot of water and sewer projects, and right now, easement acquisitions galore is what Mike Wagner, our utilities director, tells us. We're working to get the necessary easements to begin getting in a position where we can go under construction on numerous water and sewer projects. Our inspections department are staying very busy right now, not only with residential inspections, but also a lot of commercial inspections that are happening right now in our community. If you think about some of the commercial development that's happening along the 401 corridor and the 55 corridor, those projects are keeping our inspections department, our inspectors, very busy. And this last month was a little bit of a stronger month for permit submittals. We've seen a little bit, I think, with interest rates and whatnot, a little bit of a dip in the valley, but we're starting to see perhaps a trend up since this last month. And then economic development, the mayor, myself, our economic development director did a site visit with InServe, one of our corporate businesses in the business park off of Dickens Road. And it was a very good meeting. I thought learning more about how the town can work to work with their company to try to attract more suppliers to the pharmaceutical industry, which is who they primarily serve, is something that we can continue to give some focus to. Our economic development director is working now to help prepare some recommendations on a 5-year strategic plan update, as well as plans for the next year's Economic Development Summit, which will be on February 1st at the Arts Center. And so, nice program there. This weekend, there will be a curated craft market on Depot Street. I believe it's this Saturday from 2 to 6 p.m. Want to congratulate the Chamber of Commerce on a wonderful Christmas parade yesterday. A lot goes into the planning and execution of a Christmas parade, especially one where you've got 75-degree weather where everybody wants to come out and partake in it. And Dustin and the army of volunteers that they had at the Chamber of Commerce yesterday did a great job. And I will say that tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but we have one more board meeting left in the month and in the calendar year of 2023. So it seems like 2023 has gone by very, very quickly. Your project status report for December of 2023 is included in your agenda materials, so you can familiarize yourself with the projects that are still ongoing and the ones that we've checked boxes on, a lot of what you'll see in that project status report. Additionally, there's a first quarter financial quarterly report that will give some indication on how we are trending both on revenues and expenses in our general fund and in our utilities enterprise fund. And right now, we're not seeing anything that gives us any pause or reason for concern, but it's still very early. The first quarter, first 3 months of the fiscal year, it really takes 6 months to see, if there's some trends that we need to adjust to, or if everything appears to be trending like we planned for in our budget. So we'll keep the board updated on that as well. Coffee with a Cop at Bojangles this Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. The Nutcracker will be a performance with community theater at the Arts Center December 8th, 7:30 p.m. through December 9th. And December 9th, we've got 11 a.m., 2:30 p.m., some matinee shows, and a 5 p.m. late afternoon show. The Hall Sisters Holiday Show will be at the Arts Center on December 15th at 7:30 p.m. And the Gerald Parker Jazz Orchestra will be performing at the Arts Center on Saturday, December 16th. I think most of these shows, if not all of them, are sold out, which is a good thing. It shows there's a lot of interest there. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to answer any questions that you or the board might have. Otherwise, that concludes my presentation this evening.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask one?
Commissioner Haynes, go ahead.
Yes, Town Manager. Just two things. Traffic-wise, that I've been getting concerns about is Highway 55 turning on the Judd Parkway. That has become a very around 5, it's become to where your turning lane, so many people trying to turn left, that is clogging up traffic, going straight through town, going by the high school. The other thing was, I've had a lot of people reach out to me about Judd Parkway. The question is, will there ever be any lighting close to the intersections where they're having to turn into one turning onto Wilburn Road, and as well as turning onto Bridge Street when it's dark outside? And so I went and traveled both of them.
I believe that lighting is in the works, is it not, with Duke Energy?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, you've brought that up before.
Yeah,
We've made that
yeah.
request. I think it was you that brought that up before. We made that request, and I think Duke Energy has it on their schedule to perform. We'll follow up and find out where that schedule is, but I know that they do have it on their schedule to.
Thank y'all
to
so
add some
much.
lighting.
Yeah, people have been overcompensating and about running off the road and everything else when they're turning onto both of those things at nighttime, so.
I will just say this, Commissioner Haynes, and to the entire board, the conundrum of traffic at 55 and Judd Parkway is going to only get worse. And I say that because we've got some planned projects over there that's going to kind of blow that intersection up. And while that construction's happening, it's not going to be fun. The positive to look to is when the construction is complete, it should make that a more efficient and operationally safe intersection that will hopefully mitigate or at least improve some of the challenges that are there right now. And I've driven in that intersection myself, and I know exactly what you speak of.
Mayor?
Thank you, Commissioner Haynes. We all know traffic is by far this board's number one issue we tackle. Commissioner Harris, any comments?
No comments, Mr. Mayor, tonight.
Used to go into you. That's why I looked at you and looked over that direction.
Pause for a moment there, huh?
Commissioner Adcock, any comments? You talked a lot already tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. One thing was on my mind I thought I'd say. The bond that did not pass, I think we're going to hear a lot of anecdotal stories about why different people think it did or did not pass. So I thought I'd give my anecdotal story. I talked to a lot of people when I was running for election, and I think when you run for election, you get a good feel for the public. Now, I didn't talk to everybody for sure, but a lot of the people that talked to me and the people that thought enough to call me, they thought that the tax increase was too much, and that was their concern. I know other people had other concerns, but I just wanted to mention that anecdotally. That's what I was hearing, was the tax increase. So going forward, I'm going to be very careful about when we do make decisions that are raising taxes, because I think that with the economy and just, I think it's just something we're going to have to be more cognizant of, because we want those bonds to pass when we put them out. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Adcock. Commissioner Wantz, any comments?
Super Christmas parade, loved it yesterday, and thank you to the chamber, as always, for putting on a terrific parade, and to all the volunteers who put countless hours in planning and then putting it on, and thank you, God, for keeping the rain away. So that would be my comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Wantz. Commissioner Haynes, any comments?
Just congratulations to all who were put in office, or put re-elected back in office. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
You're the only one guaranteed to be up here at the time. Thank you, Commissioner Haynes. Mayor Pro Tem Gardner, any words tonight, please?
Just to say, anybody who wonders why we have experienced the growth we have and do continue to experience growth, even with interest rates as we've seen them right more recently, just should spend the last 3 or 4 days that we've had in this town, and you have to know it's just where everybody wants to live. It's just where they want to live, because it's wonderful, and it is like being in the tree lighting is like being in a Hallmark special.
Hallmark movie.
It is, and The parade yesterday was the best one ever. It was, and then the weather just smiled on us there at the end, and it just, I don't know, it's just the best place to live, and I'm grateful for it. And this is my favorite season of the year in this town, because it is so wonderful. And somebody today told me that they took their family, Pam, I think it might have been you, to Holly Springs to their tree lighting, and they liked ours better. So that tree lighting just is such a highlight. It really is. And the chorale, they were amazing. And then they marched in the Christmas parade and sang. What a gift they have been to this community and continue to be. And I mean, this year took their act on the road and to great acclaim, and presented the big playbill to the museum Friday night at their performance. So they want that, and it featured the chorale and the Willow Springs High School chorus, who both went to Carnegie Hall this summer and were in that event. So it's just a wonderful time, and I thank all of those wonderful volunteers and our police and our fire and everyone who has worked to make these last few days possible, and will continue to as we move on into the next year. Thank you so much, and thank you again for the opportunity and the honor to serve this community.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Gardner. Couple comments piggybacking on what was said. The parade had a record turnout, is what it appeared in my eyes, seeing that each year it's gotten bigger and bigger, and so there's a lot of work that goes into that. It's a lot of volunteers from within our community. It's a lot of town staff that's involved with it. It's just overall a huge amount of resources that's involved with it. And so I do appreciate everybody's time that's involved, like those that are here in this room tonight and those that are not in the room tonight, staff or our citizens. Thank you for the time you put in for that parade. Several people talked positive about the parade to me and how nice it is. You know, you see other communities out there that are choosing not to have parades and doing whatever reasons that they choose to do, but that it's important to our community having our parade in Fuquay-Varina, and so it's really an excellent family, great event right here. So thank you for everybody that put their time in on that. Thank you for tonight's time. Staff, every 2 years you have to get the boardroom set up for swearing in, making us all legit legal up here, and everything that goes into it, and family and friends and supporters and everybody that comes into it. And so it's a lot of work that's done on this beforehand tonight. I know that Teresa and Susan worked hard on getting everything ready for the board members, and so thank y'all for your time that goes in on that. It's a lot of work for y'all too, and so you do a great job, and I know it's appreciated. I appreciate it, and every one of these board members up here appreciate it too. So thank y'all for your hard work for that, and we look forward to making everybody proud the next 2 or 4 years. So thank you, everybody. Adam, I think you said we're not having a closed session tonight. Is that correct?
No, it'd be my recommendation to defer that to the next meeting.
Okay. Take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
Thank you.